So today we're continuing on in the medical terminology book. We're in chapter 10, which is the cardiovascular system. So already this module, we talked about the prefixes and suffixes, which are the beginning and the ends of the word. And so this chapter is going to introduce the word parts, which is typically the middle of the word. And our word parts are all going to be pertaining to the cardiovascular system. So heart, blood, that kind of thing. And I always start out a new chapter by encouraging you to go into your Canvas, going to the session where it's at, and accessing this chapter at a glance document. And this is a great study guide resource. So I'm going to click on that, and it's going to open it in a window. And it looks like this. If at any point during those clicking it did not work, a couple things could have caused that. One, you could have had a pop-up blocker which stopped it from opening because it does open in a new window. So it's possible you have a pop-up blocker that is restricting it from opening. If it comes up and asks you for a code, asks you to pay, or says access denied, that typically means that your resources were not activated back on the first day of the module. And if that happens, you can go back to your document that you would have received on starting module 2 and activate your resources, or always reach out to the campus on exactly how do you do that, and then try this again. If those things aren't the problem, the third thing that we're told to try is to clear out your cache and your cookies, log out of Canvas, log back in, try again. One of those three things should fix the problem. So once you have this document, I would print it. Okay, you can download it and save it, or you can print it to have paper in front of you. It just depends on you, on whether or not you are a pure digital person, or you're a paper person, or you might be, some of each. I'm typically a everything digital kind of person. However, there are just certain things that I always print, and this would be one of them if I was a student. Okay. So this document is separated into a couple parts. We have anatomy and physiology. Your med term book goes along with your anatomy book, and so it's giving you a lot of words in reference to anatomy of the heart. I'm going to skip the middle and jump to the bottom. Key terms. These are not anatomy words. These are diseases or other terms that are used in regards to the heart. And we'll talk about those in a minute. Then the middle part there are word parts. So we've got some prefixes and suffixes. Now those are typically repeat from your chapter 1 prefixes and suffixes that we've already talked about in your other video. Occasionally they will introduce a new word. So you always want to cross-reference these with the ones you already have. And if they did introduce a new one, make sure you get that added to your prefix or your suffix list so that you have an all-inclusive list. And then these are the combining forms. These are new this chapter, and these are all heart-related. Okay, so these are definite ones that you are now adding to your I need to memorize these list, which we'll talk about in a little bit as to exactly how do you do that. Okay. All right. Okay. So, as I said, access it. Now there's some words I want to add to this list, which is why printing it comes in handy, because you can add the ones I'm about to add on for you. Okay. So, for your anatomy and physiology, you have the term septum on here. I want you to indicate the plural to that word is septa. Okay, septum is singular, septa is plural. Under the key terms, the bottom of the page, I want you to add these ones: pallor, hypotension, which is a low blood pressure, syncope, and mitral regurgitation. Okay. And then your word parts here in the center section, add capno, thrombo, vasculo, and hemo. All words that you're going to want to know for this chapter to do your exercises as you're studying for your test, and etc. Okay, so make sure that you are paying attention to this and the extras I just gave you. Students will ask me from time to time, will you be giving me a list of words I need to know? Guess what I just did? You need to know all of these, plus the extras that I just added on. Okay? Now that doesn't mean you won't have exercises in the textbook that have some additional, and that's okay. So you have, in the other video, I referenced you to these pages. Page 16 in your textbook has the whole list of prefixes, and pages 9 through 14 had a lot of suffixes. So pretend all of those are on this list as well. Okay. So once you have knowledge of the word parts that we just introduced and all the suffixes and prefixes, you can then put them together in a variety of ways and create a multitude of words. So, for example, cardio means heart. So we have the epicardium, the pericardium, and the endocardium. So to analyze those words, ium is a suffix that means pertaining to. So if I just said the word cardium, it means pertaining to the heart. But when we have epi, peri, and endo in front of it, epi means upon, peri means around, and endo means within. So those become pertaining to upon the heart, pertaining to around the heart, and pertaining to within the heart. Okay. Megaly means enlargement. So enlargement of the heart. Well, peri we just talked about, cardio we just talked about. Centesis is to insert a needle to withdraw fluid. So we're withdrawing fluid from around the heart. And remember, when you are dissecting a word, we always start with the suffix, jump to the prefix, and then go to the middle, the word root. So we start, define centesis, define peri, then go to the cardi. The next two, bradycardia, tachycardia. Ia is pertaining to heart, cardi. Brady means slow, tachy means heart. So literally it means pertaining to fast heart, pertaining to slow heart. Literally it means fast heartbeat or slow heartbeat. And then cardiodynia, dynia means pain. So pain in the heart. Okay. So notice how all of those words utilized the word cardi as the base. Well, then we can take one that uses itis, the suffix meaning inflammation. Pericarditis, valvulitis, thrombitis, phlebitis, vasculitis. We can create all kinds of words, swapping out a different word part as to what is inflamed. They all mean inflamed because they have itis at the end. Okay, so the big question, how do I memorize all these words? Like, Miss Becky, that's a lot. Okay. Number one, or actually I'm going to jump to the bottom, the repetition. Study every day. I always push 10 to 20 minutes every day. Now, you can't review everything in those 10 to 20 minutes, so pick something. Do Monday, 20 minutes of prefixes. Tuesday, 20 minutes of suffixes. Then go back and do prefixes again, do suffixes again. Now, if you have a day that you have extra time, maybe you don't work on Wednesday, so you've got more time. So now maybe do a bigger session. Instead of 20 minutes, try to do 3 20-minute sessions. Maybe on the weekends, whenever you have extra time, because I realize you guys are all busy, you work, you have children, a household to run, errands to run. Obviously, studying has to be squeezed in there somewhere. So study every day. Okay. As we get into the chapter here in a minute, work through the activities in the chapter. Are those being assigned as required assignments? No, but you should be doing them anyway, more than once. Okay. Your textbook comes with a program called Cerigo, which we call adaptive learning. That can also be downloaded onto your phone, the Cerigo app, meaning that you can take that exercises on the go. And you can study anytime you have a few extra minutes. You're on break at work. Do 10 minutes of this instead of 10 minutes on Facebook or Instagram. Okay. Do a few minutes while you're sitting in the drive-thru at McDonald's, or you're sitting at a train. Put the car in park first. Or you're waiting for something. You go to a movie and you're waiting for the movie to begin. Use those spare minutes you have throughout the day, which will add up to a lot of study time where it would have just been wasted time while you're waiting for something during your day. Okay. And then I'm going to show you Quizlet here in just a second as well. Ross has some pre-made ones, and you can make your own. So I'm going to show you that here as well. So that's how you're going to memorize these. Constant exposure, constant repetition. Okay. Okay. So let's show you some of these things. In your Canvas, towards the top of your feed, so I'm at the very beginning of your Canvas, just a couple of sections down, you have this one called Approved Quizlets, and you have links to all of these. Okay. You don't see this. Okay. And the link takes you directly into Quizlet. Okay. So so you can see that you have prefixes and suffixes and then some combining forms. While this is wonderful, the combining forms are not separated by module. So you might decide you want to make your own for just this module so that you can focus your studying mod to mod. It's great having combined ones when you're studying for life, your certification tests, things like that, where you need all the chapters, but keep it focused so that your time is used wisely each mod. So that takes us here into Quizlet. You can, I'm already signed in, but you can create an account. It's free, and you can create your own flashcards for studying. You can also download the Quizlet app and take those with you on the go and study during your day. So these are ones that Ross made. So I'm just going to click on this one. These aren't necessarily mod specific either. They're great, but they're not mod specific. That's frustrating. So you might want to end up making your own. So once you have them, and I'm just going to use one of these, you can do flashcards here and flip the card. Go to the next one, flip the card. You can do this learn, where basically you're going to weed it out with the ones that you're familiar with and that you have mastered. And so you can actually get it down to the ones that you struggle with the most and focus your study time on the most challenging ones for you. Writing and spelling, the games are kind of fun. I like to recommend the test. With the test, you can do this on your screen, and it's just going to randomly pick a number of them. It's not picking them for any specific reason. They're just randomly picking 5 here to do as type the answer. Then it's randomly picking 6 to match. Okay. Well, you can go into your options and you can tell it to do all 135 words that are in this flashcard bank. And maybe you don't want the written ones. You just want matching, multiple choice, true and false. Or you can pick all matching or all multiple choice, whatever you want. And then I can hit create a new test. Now it'll make it, and I can even print that if I want to print to do it on paper. Okay, so you can make lots of different practice tests. So that's kind of neat as well. Okay, so play around with your Quizlet. The other cool thing with Quizlet is that you can friend each other. So if I make the root word Quizlet and you make a prefix Quizlet, we can kind of swap so that I don't have to make all of mine. You know, we kind of share the load and then we all get to use the flashcards. So you can like follow each other like on other social medias. So that's kind of neat. Okay. So now I'm going to go here into your textbook. You're going to see pretty much now them presenting the things we've already talked about, much of what is on this chapter at a glance document. So it's going to now start presenting you with some of those words. This is going to be helpful because your chapter at a glance doesn't have definitions. It only has the word parts. So you're still going to want to go through and figure out what all these words mean before you can make flashcards or start studying. And then after it presents it, it's going to go through some anatomy, great. And then it's going to go through several activities. So this is exercise 1, and it looks like it's root words matching to what do they mean. So start with the ones that are either obvious or that you know that you know. Okay, so cardio means heart. Capillaro probably means capillary. It's a little obvious. So start with the ones that are obvious or that you're sure that you know, and then kind of by process of elimination, work on what's left. You'll have matching sections sometimes on the test where you've got like 10 words, 10 definitions. Approach it the same way. Sorry, my dog's a little crazy at the moment. Must have been a squirrel. So start with the ones you know, start with the ones that are kind of obvious what they mean, and then work on the ones that are left, okay? And then keep going through the chapter. Some more anatomy, some more root words being presented. Oh, and then there's some more exercises. Now this one is very anatomy based. And you might go, I'm not working on anatomy right now. Let's just skip this and we'll go on, and I'm going to find the next exercise if it's more med-term based. However, this is a fabulous activity, okay? It's not only, there are some anatomy questions on your med-term test. So it's great for that, but it's also prepping you for your anatomy test, which of course is coming up as well. Okay. And then continue working your way through. All in one day? No. That's way too much in one day, but a little bit every day. Even when you get your lesson plan as to what today's activities are, perhaps med-term wasn't mentioned, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't be doing it anyway. You should be doing med-term every day in some format. Okay? So you'll continue working your way through the chapter. Every now and then you will be given an ICA or critical thinking ICA that pull from this. Great. Okay? And then at some point through the mod, we'll then present the next chapter, which I'll be doing another video because we're doing the respiratory system this module as well, but I'll do another video for that one rather than mix up the two. Okay, so next session, you will have an ICA for med-term. I'm going to do a quick video kind of introducing like some tips on how to do it. It won't be that long of a video. I don't have a lot to say on that, but I do want to give you some tips on how to complete it without struggling too much, maybe how to complete it a little faster than if you didn't have the tips. So definitely watch that video before doing the ICA.